Good Friday morning, everybody. We're going to conclude the week of reviews with another installment in the tribute concert review series. This time, we're going to take a look at the tribute to Paul Simon for the Gershwin Prize for a Popular Song. By the way, he was the first recipient of the award, and I believe this show um, was held in Washington, D.C. Some of the performers that participated include Paul Simon himself, Art Garfunkel. By the way, they reunited as Simon and Garfunkel. Mark Anthony from Paul's musical The Cape Man, Alison Krauss and Jerry Douglas, Stephen Marley, Bob's son, James Taylor, and Lyle Lovett. Some of my favorites performances on here include Stephen Marley's take on mother and child reunion, and really I wasn't too surprised that he chose that song to do, considering his musical pedigree. Um, I thought it was really cool because a lot of the artists um, for tribute concerts typically stick to the hits and don't delve too deep into the catalog of an artist. But this wasn't the case for this tribute. A lot of the artists, you know, really explored Paul's catalog and, did some tracks that, weren't necessarily hits. Um, another absolute favorite of mine is um, is Jerry Douglas and Alison Krauss's version of Graceland, which I felt would have fit right in on Alison Krauss and Robert Plant's album Raising Sand, which, by the way, we will be reviewing a little farther down the road. Um, and they also did a a nice version of Homeward Bound, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, but don't quote me on that. Um, and as far as the other performers go, some of the other songs that are featured in this tribute um, are are a song from Paul's current album at the time, Father and Daughter, which he does, which he was on the road on the surprise tour at the time of this tribute. So his road band was the house band for the tribute, and his road band at the time, as they always were stellar. I mean, it was one of my all-time favorite drummers, Steve Gadd on drums, uh, Harper Simon, Paul's son, with I believe his first wife, Peggy, on guitar and vocals. Paul's musical director, Mark Stewart, on about everything under the sun. And Bikini Kumalo, Paul's bass player from Graceland, the Graceland band, on bass. So it was it was that was another thing that really made this tribute fantastic, is the fact that that Paul's band was the house band for the tribute, because they are all stellar musicians. And Paul and Artie Garfunkel reunite for Bridge Over Troubled Water, of course, and it was one of the last times they would sing together, because in 2010 or 2009 they went out on the road and did a tour of like the Far East and overseas, and then Art was beset by vocal problems, which resulted in the loss of his part of his singing voice for a couple years. So Simon and Garfunkel is effectively defunct. And but another one of my favorites is, of course, one of my favorite groups that I was introduced to through Graceland, Ladysmith Black Mambazo, do a nice version of Homeless, and then they joined Paul for a tremendous version of Diamonds on the Soles of Their Shoes. And in my view, Ladysmith Black Mambazo is one of the greatest a cappella groups to ever sing, and they are in my view, again, they are the only group that can sing, that can sing like Homeless and Diamonds on the Soles of Their Shoes, because they are so masterful at it. And the reason I say this is I saw a tribute to Paul Simon, another one, and I don't know who did Homeless. They were the version of Homeless that I saw on this tribute the other night was good, but you know, it wasn't that good. But another favorite of mine is, of course, from the Gershwin Prize tribute, is James Taylor's rendition of Slip Sliding Away. Now, like I said, I wasn't too surprised that James had picked that one to do, because it is right up his alley, and Paul and James and Art have been friends for many, many years. As a matter of fact, Art warms up with James before every show. And like I said, Paul was on tour behind Surprise at the time, so he did a version of Father and Daughter, which, by the way, was tremendous. And we will also be reviewing Surprise sometime here on the channel. and so look forward to that. And uh, the tribute was released in 2007. Um, Now the version the I might add that I think um, the version the when you look when I post or when I put the picture of the DVD or the cover of the tribute, it will be the Blu-ray version, but we are reviewing the DVD version, which I think is pretty it the DVD version and the Blu-ray version pretty much mirror each other as far as content goes. And something else that I might add is that Stevie Wonder and the Mighty Clouds of Joy, which is or not the Mighty Clouds of Joy, the Dixie Hummingbirds and Paul do they kind of close the show with a rousing rendition of Love Me Like a Rock. And actually it's funny because Stevie messes up the song about maybe a little way through, and he says, "I didn't have my cue cards," as kind of a joke at his expense, because he's blind, and so I thought that was pretty funny. But and something else that I might add is that Paul's old friends, the Jesse Dixon singers, join I think Yolanda Adams for a rousing, and I do mean rousing rendition of Gone at Last. I love that. And the Jesse Dixon singers were on the road with Paul, I think around 72 or 3, when There Goes Ryman Simon came out. And we will be doing a review of one of my favorite solo Paul Simon live albums, Live Ryman, a little farther down the road. So overall, I really hope you enjoy this.